Hello world, it's Austin. Let's talk about being transgender and Christian. So a couple of weeks ago I asked you all for questions that I could help answer in a video, and as I was reading through all of them again recently, thinking about more videos I can make, it hit me, I don't have all the answers. I think sometimes because I make these videos, because I do a lot of study, because I have a seminary degree, I've got a master's in biblical study, because I have all this behind me, and because I have people that I can reach out to ask for more resources, it makes it seem like I know everything. And I just want to let you know, I don't. So today I want to talk about questions that I have that I don't have the answers to. And I hope that in talking about those things and being honest with you guys about them, it allows all of us to take a little bit of space and give each other a little bit of grace to say things that we aren't quite sure about, things that we don't have like a firm position on, and to talk about them a little more, because I think we tend to get entrenched in our own positions and think that we are right and everybody else is wrong, when sometimes it's okay to just say, I don't know. So let's think theologically for a second. First theological question that I have that I don't have an answer for is, why does God let bad things happen? So there's a whole field of study in theology about why bad things happen, why God allows them to happen. It's called theodicy. Some people think bad things happen because humans have free will and we do stupid things sometimes. Some people think that bad things happen because maybe God allows them to happen, but why? Some people think maybe God doesn't have the power to stop bad things from happening, and if that's true, how does that change the way we think about God? So there are all these ways of thinking about why bad things happen, why God allows them to happen, who God is. There's a whole field of study, and I just don't have any answers at all. Second theological thing I don't have an answer for, how does the atonement work? So atonement is a word that was actually made up pretty recently in human history. It's a combination of words. It's at-one-ment. So when we talk about atonement, when it is in reference to God, that's how we come back together with God despite like sin, or despite being far away from God. What does atonement, how does that work exactly? A lot of people talk about atonement when it comes to Jesus and his death on the cross and his resurrection. There's a whole school of thought on that as well, of course. There's something called penal substitutionary atonement, which is the idea that the way atonement works, the way that we get back together with God, is because of Jesus' death. Like, God was super mad at humanity for being sinful, and so then Jesus died, which means that we don't have to be punished, so God forgives us because of Jesus' death. It's kind of complicated, actually, to try to explain it. But that's one idea of how atonement works, but it is not the only one by any means. There are lots of other ways to think about how humanity and God come back together despite sin. And a lot of that, obviously, is through Jesus. But how exactly? So that's the whole thing. I don't have an answer for that either. When it comes to issues of gender identity, I have a really hard time coming up with an answer for why you can know that you are a certain gender, and where that line is between what you know intrinsically and what society puts on you. Like, I have a really hard time finding the line between what is internal and what is created sociologically and psychologically from outside us. Because when we talk about gender roles, like gender roles, the things that we sort of fill and try to shove ourselves into as humans, those are like created by our society, right? Every society has a different idea about how men act and how women act. But there are some things that seem to be intrinsic, like my sense of being male, or maybe your sense of being female, or your sense of being male. So what is the difference between that intrinsic feeling and the sociological parts of being male, female, or both, or neither? I sometimes don't have an answer when people are like, well, if gender is so socially constructed, then how do you know that you're male? And I'm like, I don't know, I know, I feel it, it's in here somewhere. One more thing I don't know the answer to, how one deals with people who forcefully disagree with you. So like if I'm at a protest or something and somebody comes up to me and is just like, you can't be trans and Christian, and being trans is a sin, and you're wrong, and your ideas about the Bible are wrong, and are just like, just in my face about it, I'm not very good at handling that. I'm not super good at handling conflict, to be honest. And so it's always difficult to find a way to be graceful and to be compassionate, and you know, sometimes you think like, oh, we could have a real discussion about this, and sometimes you think, this person's just going to yell at me no matter what I say. And so I have a really hard time finding answers for that kind of situation. Like, how do you deal with people that are super forceful and super in your face? Some people say, you know, you should just walk away, leave it alone. Other people say you should try to engage, ask them questions, find out where they're coming from. And I haven't really found a good answer for me yet. So, those are some questions this week that I don't know the answer to. If you have answers to them, let me know. I always like to hear what you folks are thinking. So, yeah, let me know either in the comments or on Twitter. I'm Austin Lionheart on Twitter, or on Facebook in the Transgender Christian Facebook page. You can let me know there as well. I will see you back here next week, everybody, and I will try to bring some answers then. Alright, see you next Wednesday. Peace.